I'm gonna start this off on an unrelated note. Patrol rates are currently janked up. From everything that I can see, this is a bug. A solo is supposed to face 1/4 of the spawn rates that a normal full team would. Instead, they are getting 4/4. So, it's hard to see this as anything other than a patch error, especially seeing as it's explicitly stated they wanted it to be 1/4. So, knowing that, we've got two options. We can be frustrated that there's more challenge and quit like some kind of loser, or we can recognize that this gives us a chance to engulf ourselves within the fire of adversity and become stronger than ever before. If this makes you curious as to how I could possibly see a spawn rate being bugged into becoming 4 times as bad as it would be actually being a positive, you can go ahead and follow me here. You go and you find your comfortable difficulty, the one that tests your limits, the one that reminds you how dangerous these worlds can be. You go to this level that is now much harder than usual, and you beat it into submission. You do that over and over and over again until it becomes easy. Then, lo and behold, the patch that fixes all of this comes strolling along. All of a sudden, those next 3 difficulties above it have become nothing more than a light snack for you. You're so used to grabbing your enemy by the skull and dragging him face first through the gravel, no pathetic helldive mission is gonna stop you in your tracks. You've seen the worst they have, you emissary of death, you, and their pathetic legion does not impress you any longer. I would also like to add, at the time of recording, it was 80 degrees inside, and I kept forgetting to change off my counter sniper several missions in a row prior to what you're about to see. If you're not picking up what I'm putting down here, it means I was uncomfortable, I was cloudy-headed, and compounding annoyance with each mission. Despite finishing all of the missions, I was furious and playing horribly, so you'll definitely be able to tell when I was getting more irritated. That out of the way, let's talk preparation and fundamentals. I don't actually recommend bugs at all to begin with. I find them incredibly chaotic and messy, and I believe they maximize the possibility for mistakes to be made. But I know better than most of your parents did that I can tell you not to do something, I can say it's a bad idea, you're gonna do it anyway. So, I might as well tell you how not to get yourself killed while you do it. Bugs have a hard-on for making your loadout take itself to extremes in the most annoying of ways. They're either trying to swarm you, or they're dropping Bile Titans on top of you. Fortunately, the expendable anti-tank launchers are full of enough piss and vinegar to meet most of these problems head-on. The big ones, at least. It'll take care of the big ones. As of right now, I would consider these a must-have for anyone intending to fight against these bitch-made roaches. 2 shots Bile Titans, Spore Spewers, and Shrieker Gnats from significantly farther away than you would have to be for a 500 or a Hellbomb to go off. Since you've got the big things covered, you pick an airstrike dedicated to clearing small units. Although my disdain for Eagle 1 and her tremendous inaccuracy knows no bounds, you'll get more than one at a time, and it's not affected by orbital accuracy scramblers. One less thing you have to check before heading into your match. If you're quick to forget things like I am, that's a big deal. When it comes down to a support weapon, make sure it can kill a charger. From there, it's a balancing preference. Make sure your support weapon's good at killing spewers like a railgun, and add an area clearance grenade like incendiaries, or use something to clear an area like a flamethrower paired with impact grenades for spewers. And for the love of Bryce Dallas Howard, bring yourself some kind of backpack. Primary and secondary are dealer's choice, but I advise you to bring something that kills the flashy ones quickly and the armored ones well enough. Your booster can be whatever you want it to be. Other habits to build are as follows. I'm gonna dump a ton of information on you right now, so just strap in and prepare yourself. If you've got the option, funnel bugs into choke points. If you don't know what choke points are, it's any small opening. You can pretty much have them organize themselves to tightly bunch up within and then just bombard with fire. Watch out for hunters while you do that, because the little bastards like to run around the side like some kind of shitty velociraptor setting up an ambush. If that's not an option, fight out in the open, because you have literally everywhere to fall back into so long as you're not absent-mindedly stumbling onto more bugs. Now, the other thing this does, it pretty much just forms up everything in a cone in front of you as they're trying to chase. Now, you may notice there's one particular thing I'm not telling you to do. I'm not telling you to grab cover, and I'm especially not telling you to jam yourself in a corner with your back up against a wall. So don't fucking do that. Other words of wisdom are that if you can avoid something, please, do engage in that activity. Also, doing Sief artillery side objectives feels like putting a fishhook through your eyelid. Actually, I would like to advocate for the side of putting a fishhook through your eyelid here, because you just go into shock when that happens, and eventually it stops hurting and it just feels like this sort of weird, non-feeling pulling sensation. So, on second thought, yeah, I would rather get another fishhook in the eyelid as opposed to having to do another Sief artillery. So, yeah, I guess it's worse than fishhook through the eyelid. Learn what will and won't call breaches and how to perform accordingly. If a breach was recently called in the last minute or so, they will not call another one onto you, so it's a good enough time as any to start an objective once everything is dead. If you need help identifying what won't call it in, you're down to spewers, chargers, titans, and shriekers, so if you're trying to prevent one, attempt to focus on everything else first. When you're running away, and you will have to run away eventually, hit hunters first, because they have the best chance at slowing you down. If you have one of those airstrikes and you aren't going to get staggered or slow down, throw it at your feet while you keep running. If you see stalkers, that's now your new immediate priority. Look at where they're coming from and run over there to blow up their house. It doesn't matter what you were doing before. Shriekers are a little different. You kill them when it's convenient for you, because you can just crouch down when they swoop and they'll miss, or simply shoot them out of the air whenever it feels right. Either that or, just blow up their house from across the map before they can locate you, like I prefer to do. Now, don't let chargers dictate your pace. Fight into them, not away from them. I know, it sounds weird to run at the charging bull, but just hold on. When they begin to charge, let them get close, then break hard right or a hard left. For the sake of time, that's all the quick information I'm going to give you for now, but from here on out, we're going to be hypercritical of this gameplay, because that's the treatment it deserves, as it was a terrible performance. I've got a good game that I can display as well, but it's significantly easier to just go ahead and show you the bad ones, because I can tell you what I did wrong way better than I can tell you what I did right. Our first error happens upon dropping in initially. You see, usually I like to drop on extract as a solo, which is a smart idea, but instead I made the mistake of dropping directly on objective, knowing they were bile spewers no less. So, I pretty much just try to use the impact to get rid of this, and I think that, if I stim at the right time, I can get through it. There's no chance. So that's already one life gone, and this just shows if you land in the wrong spot, this is how bad things can get immediately. It's just downhill right away. This entire game is pretty much just going to be me getting plagued by bile spewers one-shotting me. I'll zig when I should have zagged so many times throughout this, and I pay for it with my life, which, it just goes to show why I bring a railgun, because of how much I hate these things. I want my gun to be tailored to it, not my grenade. Right now, I'm pretty much just trying to stagger them and get them off of my ass while I figure out what the next move is, because this absent-minded drop was seriously bad for my health. And I kind of decide that, okay, I can stagger them and break away long enough to get my bearings, and then just move back on objective, because I'm here anyways. I might as well get it done and kill everything around. Now, I stand on that it's idiotic that a creature with a shielded face is allowed to do that as soon as I get out of my hell pod with little to no recourse, but, I guess I'm just gonna be pissed off about that for my entire life, because it doesn't seem like it's changing, despite being told quite some time ago that we were not going to have them one-shot anymore. It's like It's like they just turned heel and did a full reversal. So, you know, that's nice. Otherwise, at least I was able to drop a napalm strike on them and kind of clear that out. And honestly, it remains pretty tame around here from then on out. There's a couple of shriekers, but there's nothing tremendously interesting, so we're just going to cut ahead once again. Right about now is when I start getting tired of the shriekers, so I decide I'm going to start making my moves to take them out while I get up to my other objective. Because as much as they're not a pressing concern, they are still an annoyance, and I want as little of those as I could possibly have at this point in time. This is really like the start of the real downfall. Like at this point, I'm super irritated, and I thought this was a Sief artillery site, so I'm already irritated at that. I'm distracted, I'm unfocused, and as a result, lo and behold, I stumble upon a bug nest thinking it's a Sief artillery. Honestly, at this point, I'm just thankful that napalm didn't kill me, but I'm not thankful for very long because although I can kind of dodge that charger, I'm still frustrated, I'm doing stupid things, and I don't realize my railgun is on safe mode right now. I'm so annoyed with the current situation that I just can't think, and naturally, once again, instantly killed by bile spewers using their ranged attack because that makes sense. Someone thought that was a good idea. You'll see me die by them again because they missed, and it still hit me, but that's for later. Now, progressively, I'm able to realize, hey, fighting this charger kinda sucks. Why is that? It only takes 2 overcharged shots to the shin. That's 1. That's 2. I should have had them overcharged. He should have no shin. It's because I had it in safe mode. Finally realized that somehow 3 shots put into that shin, including an overcharged shot, aren't enough, but finally another overcharged shot finishes the job. Now, this was okay. Like, I felt like things were manageable. I died once against the bug nest, but I'm just gonna get out of there. It's not that big of a deal. But, and I'll actually take this in slow motion here because it's just so... Well, it's bullshit. It really is just supreme bullshit. I'm not gonna lie. Because if you look, it doesn't hit me. It goes off to my right, and I'm still dead because it fires out in a radius as opposed to a stream for some reason. I don't know who was in charge of that, but I don't like you. Through some stroke of miracle, I was able to actually pull it together here, destroy the Shrieker nest, kill that other bile spewer because it's just a stain on the face of this planet, just like they all are. I mean, seriously, I hate bile spewers so much. It's incalculable. Like you can't quantify my hatred towards this bug. It cannot be done. I defy you to do such a thing. Now, despite this game feeling all around terrible, or this mission rather, I did have some high points such as stumbling across a stalker lair and taking that out before even getting attacked by one. And I can see shriekers over the hill. I'm hoping they don't notice, but naturally, of course they notice. So, once again, thinking my old foe is past me, I keep moving, but I should never be so lucky, and I shouldn't have assumed I would be. By the way, if you're taking out shriekers, it's such a pain to do it with any sort of like semi-automatic or charge-up weapon. Do yourself a favor, bring a shotgun, bring an automatic. Get something with some stagger behind it. That's really all I ask. The Punisher is my front runner and has been for a while. The stagger and the ability to one-shot all of these rather squishy ones it's just very nice to have confidence in. Now, to be fair, this one doesn't go that bad. Or at least it could have gone worse. It's not perfect by any means. I don't remember dying here, but I died 8 times this game. Yeah, 8 times. So it was pretty bad. Now, some of you may be wondering, hey, why are you showing us bad gameplay? Why don't you show us gameplay of a fantastic round? Well, the reason there is twofold. Number one, I feel like it's important to show you a bad beginning does not necessarily beget a bad end. You shouldn't write off your entire game just because the start of it sucks. Now, you're going to have to slug it out, no lie there. But, you can still do it most of the time. It's possible if a bit unpleasant. It's like drinking absinthe. Now, the second reason is, I want you guys to know that it's okay to make mistakes. Even I make mistakes. I'm level, 143 at the time of this recording, and I'm still screwing up. So don't be so hard on yourself when you do. Now, nothing really crazy happens here, but it is a good example as to why I prefer the eats over your 500s, your airstrikes, otherwise. And it's because they're problem solvers in a more direct but long distance fashion. I can maintain my distance from that objective, and I can also completely multitask on this one. Throw some fire grenades to just clear out the little guys. If there's a bile spewer that comes up, I can dome him in the head with the railgun like so. Bitch. Anyway, and then I get to just do my objective and wait for the eats to cool down. Now, naturally, nothing goes according to plan. I get pushed off of objective here because spewers, again, go figure. I don't want to get one shot because my reinforcement timer is low, but it's not out. So I have to wait till that's back. And now I have my reinforcement. Worst case scenario, I can just do something reckless, drop back in. I've got an extra life, so I don't really care anymore. My eats are going to be off cooldown in no time if they aren't already. I haven't really checked. My bad. And I'm good. That's going to be 2 objectives done back to back now. Realistically, eats just feel like they make the most sense. Firstly, you minimize damage and risk to yourself because you can use them from so far away. Secondly, you don't have to rely on Eagle 1 to likely just slam the payload into the side of the mountain instead of your actual objective. And finally, they're on a more consistent cooldown than her things anyway. The rest of that is boring. I got about 200 more kills, and then I jumped on a rock wrong at extract, so when I laid down on it, it just ragdolled me, and naturally another bile spewer killed me. So, that's fun. Instead, I'm gonna have you watch the goodness that was the extract from the positive game. Now, once again, while we wait for extract and you just watch that kill counter climb, I have to remind you that patrol rates, once again, are bugged. They are not where they should be right now. They are supposed to be around like a quarter, which would be a minor increase from what you were originally experiencing as a solo. But instead, they got buffed all to hell. So, hopefully that gets fixed soon, because it's just been recently brought into attention, and I honestly don't expect it to take that long. Next big patch will probably do it. And by the time that comes out, you can be remarkably proficient. Don't let the buffed spawn rates be the reason you don't do solo. You can see me doing it just fine now, and as I usually try to say, I'm not that good. If I can do it, you can do it. So that'll be all for the evening here. Hopefully you got something out of this. If you've got any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. Maybe you'd like to see something in a later video. Otherwise, have a good one, ladies and gents. Keep yourselves safe, and have a nice night.